right. Hey, folks. I am Supijankur, the founder of Santa, and my guest today is Shikhil Sharma. He is the founder of Astra Security, and we will be talking about Astra Security Suite, DAS tool, and there is pentesting, there is bug bounty. There's a lot of stuff in Astra Security Suite. So, Shikhil, help us to secure our applications.
Hey, Sufi, thanks a lot for having me. Always good to talk to more InfoSec folks where I can totally use the jargon without worrying that the other person would get it or not. So thanks a lot for the invite and having me on the podcast.
Really
and yes, so happy to answer all the questions that you have around our Pentest product or even website protection product.
I would say, go with my first question always is, what is Astra Security does? What is it? Can you tell us a little bit the overall?
Absolutely. So there's a little story to this. I met my co-founder when we were students in a university almost 10 years ago, right? And we were always in security even before starting the university. And as all security folks, you never start by saying that, hey, I'm in security industry. You say, I hack stuff. So now I choose which side of the things I want to be. So we said that, okay, let's be on the good side and be the security folks. So that's where I started, met my co-founder who was, even as a kid, he used to write Visual Basic and was writing remote administration tools just for summer vacation fun to prank on his friends. And he did not even know that they are called remote administration tools back then. He was just playing pranks on his friend. And I started finding vulnerabilities in websites because it was fun and reporting them. Even before, I think at that time, even bug bounties had started. I mean, they were not too mainstream. And then once we met at a university, we started collaborating and working together. And we started freelancing. I mean, we did a ton of bug bounties and things like that together. And then we started collaborating and even got to be known as a security guys around the block. That's where we started getting a lot of businesses, apps developed by our friends or even alumni who were working in some companies came to us and said that, hey, can you guys tell if we are secure? So that's how we started. That's how initial penetration tests happened to us, where we realized that, hey, it's all of this entire thing is much more than finding this one loophole, but covering all bases and ensuring that, you're really performing a hacker style pen test on an organization's infrastructure. And one of the key patterns that we realized was that a lot of small businesses were very clueless on security and they used to get targeted a lot. That's how our first product, which was a website protection suite, happened, where which was targeted at WordPress, Magento, PrestaShop, all these CMSs who used to, who was essentially, who were the CMSs which were used by small and medium businesses to run their shops or small stores.
Company website, anything, any kind of application these days,
Exactly. And for these, we realize that hackers a lot of times write bots which probe for vulnerabilities and then go about hacking them or injecting malware in them. Some nasty stuff like credit card hijacking on e-commerce stores. And these business owners are very clueless. So then we thought that, okay, let's build something which makes their life easy, does not require coding, leave alone. I mean, this was a product which was built for companies who sometimes do not even have full-time tech folks on their teams, leave alone security teams. And they loved it. But deep down, me and my co-founder always have been builders, and deep down we knew that we have to build something around pen test space when the market is right. Because we initially thought, we talked to a few businesses and then we realized that the initial pull towards pen test was not that huge. There were only financial applications or big organizations out of compliance who were doing pen tests, or even if they cared for it, it was just enterprise category, which was really doing pen test. But in the last 2 to 3 years, we saw a very recent rapid change where we realized that, hey, now pen tests are kind of becoming an industry standard. Anyone, and thanks to all the users who, like readers, like listeners, like of the podcast, or even people around us who have become conscious about security, that, hey, they want to interact with a website or give their data to a website, which proves that they are secure. And that's how pen tests have kind of become mainstream. And of course, for SaaS solutions have emerged a lot. So that's how the DAS solution happened. We do not necessarily market it as DAS solution currently. We'd say that, hey, it's a pen test suite. It has a vulnerability scanner, scans for vulnerabilities, but we also ensure that you have a smooth and real amazing experience with pen tests, which is not just a security team which just only interacts on emails and sends you a 200 pages report saying that, hey, these are the flaws, and we'll come back after a month and we'll see that, you know, they are fixed. So we thought that it's time to make pen test cool. So that's how the DAS product as well as Astra's pen test suite happened. Yep.
So it's the automated part of the thing, because I had a chance to, you know, to run through your demo and try like use a little bit like to get familiar with, and it's like not really. I can sense that it's not designed to. We are, you know, designing a tool for automated scan. So it's kind of like that. How we can secure. We have these apps. How we can secure either using our own developers or security team so they can collaborate better. So it's kind of like I see is in the first expression like a team collaboration platform in a way. So I have seen a lot of, okay, I need now an audit. So request an audit. And you guys also doing the security audits as a pen tester, right? It's not just like, you know, the run the tool type of thing, but you have people experienced there, and then people you so offer this service as well as like a professional pen testing security audit type of attraction.
Correct. It's a combination of both, and we did not. That's why we did not take. I mean, first of all, there were not a lot of solutions which were doing what we are doing in the market. So we had no inspiration, but we had a lot of opinions because we had done pen tests for a few hundred organizations before we started building this. So we knew exactly what the pain point is, right? And we considered persona of our customers very seriously. So for us, we were not catering to organizations which have essentially tens of people or even sometimes one person in their security team. What we essentially want this product to be is, let's say, first security employee of any company. And it should not necessarily require anyone to have security knowledge to run it. I'm sure you must have felt that way, because the way we initiate the entire process. I mean, the product has a vulnerability scanning component, DAST component, as well as it has a manual pen test component also. However, there are customers who just use the vulnerability scanning component. I mean, they just input the URL, record the login sequence, and I mean, just it's point and shoot. Takes under 3 minutes to get them started. And now, if they want to go beyond and require a pen test, that also is something that they can request right from the dashboard, upgrade a plan if they are on a lower plan. And from there, even pen test happens really quickly. And even on pen test front, we've tried to innovate a lot and ensure that, you know, pen tests happen quicker in terms of what our security engineers are working on. We've tried to really minimize the collaboration between our security team as well as our customers. From the looks of it, it's a very, I mean, as you correctly mentioned, it looks very collaborative tool, because that is the intention when we are doing a pen test for an organization.
Yeah, it's like great. And also, like, I think if I'm not mistaken, Astra is in the market for 5 years now, like you mentioned earlier, and it evolved a lot with like during the market. I guess like the the progress in this, like market, your customers demanded something and then you focused on that. And again, because if I look at the firewall part of it, like the protection part of it, I'm seeing something like the defend against spammy SEO type of attack stuff. Japanese hacks I haven't heard before, but I learned from the website. And on the left side, on the scanning type, you see an automated vulnerable scanner, like DAS scanner in there for, with the authenticated scan and everything. Plus, on top of that, you can request some, SOC 2 audit for companies. So it's like you come for, the long, like very different steps during the way. But like how many customers using each of these? Like, what is the majority, the using at the moment, or how do you see it?
Got it. So just to clarify, like SOC 2 is something that like we are definitely not getting on within the compliance side of things at all. However, a lot of times one recommendation within these compliances is to have a regular pen test or an external security scan. So we thought that, hey, why not support our customers there? So what we do is we actually give them a compliance view. Why within why just one audit an year, right? Even for smaller customers, you run an automated scan, and if there is a certain vulnerability which affects your SOC 2 compliance or affects your GDPR or affects your HIPAA, it flags right there, just from a security perspective. Beyond that, we leave a lot of amazing companies who are doing SOC 2 automation. We leave that bit to them. And in terms of like the question that you asked in terms of customers, so I cannot possibly tell the exact number, but I would say the split, but I would give you some juicy information. So the number of customers are upwards of 1,000, and the split is, since the website protection product is a low ticket size self-serve product, so the number of customers there are, I would say, of the total number of customers, the number of a website protection customer would be somewhere around 60 to 65 or even 70, around 70%, and remaining 30%, which is a higher ticket size product, Pentest product, is those customers are the remaining part of it. However, the revenue contribution to the company is opposite because of the size. And since the website protection thing is self-served, it sells through the marketplaces of various CMSs. What we are massively focusing on right now is to evolve our Pentest offering and become that go-to a Pentest suite for small and medium enterprises. So that's the big vision we are moving towards.
Yeah, so it's tend to grow in the product, I guess. So they start, let's say, for checking this protection part, they implement themselves, automatically happening, like we just activating in your CMS. I guess like it used to be a WordPress plugin for like scanning. Is it still there, or
yes,
you evolve something else?
We do have a malware scanner as well as website protection component to it, like a firewall and a malware scanner, as well as what we are now coming up with within that product is a component where people would be able to add no-code security rules to their website also, where, I mean, let's say a business wants to say that, hey, and this is a very real use case that we get. Let's say someone has a business which is based out of Netherlands, and they say that, hey, my let's say website URL is /ABC or whatever custom URL they've put. And they say that why are people from China visiting this? Because this is my admin URL. I do not know. And from a business perspective, they have a perfect sense, because that thing is not getting crawled anywhere. It's not getting indexed. Then why is there traffic? Someone's naturally crawling or even not honoring the robot.txt or whatever if they've put a rule there. So they want to ensure that, that particular URL is only accessible through certain IPs or in a certain geography where the businesses are. Now, from a developer's perspective, it's a security problem and it's not a cool thing to build. I mean, developers' time, I think, is one of the most valuable resource in today's world. And now a developer spending a couple of hours to either restrict it through an HT access or write custom rule. It's not worth it. So what we are saying that, hey, I mean, what essentially when I say no code, it would require like 1 minute, and a business owner has to answer like 3 questions, and such rule would be built on their website and applied there and there. No
I totally get it.
technology.
Because like, let's think about it. You're a small business, you have running a WooCommerce or something like that.
Yep.
Maybe you have a team of like 3-5 developers. But like, I wouldn't be, I mean, even when you are developing this feature, you can make a security issue, make it be bigger issue. Yes. When you are, trying to do this fine tuning. So it's just, activate the product. It is there, you guys maintaining continuously, they will be using it. And then let's say this website start to get some hits, they start to get like 30, 20, 50 orders, then they will start to think about, okay, like maybe we should be, looking more in this. So they moving into the automated scan part. And then eventually they will ask for pen testing service from you guys. Can you explain about the pen testing part as well? Like you call it website, like what was it? So was it website expert and website pen test service? So you have like 2 edition in that. Like how does it work?
Sure. So we've got 3 plans, which is like the first plan is scan plan, second plan is expert plan, and third plan is pen test plan. So the first one is a very basic plan where we say that, hey, you just, it's a point and shoot scanner. You scan, we've got a Chrome extension too, which we've recently released, where anyone can simply log in their login sequence so that our scanner scans their SaaS product or e-commerce stores behind the login areas also. So they can use all of it just to know the vulnerabilities, right? And like I mentioned, that these are people which do not have big security teams or even any security teams. Now, the problem comes there is that there is no automated vulnerability scanner which does not comes with the problem of false positives. It is natural. It's still a problem which is, I would say, still in research phase. Every vendor wants to claim that we have the least amount of false positives. But let's be honest, false positives are a real problem in security space. And so that's where our expert plan comes into the picture, where we say that, hey, we will vet the results of security scanners so that the final result that you get has no false positive. So that in that plan, one of the key differentiators is that we are going to integrate our, they get to integrate our scanner with their tools like Jira, CI/CD pipeline using GitHub, Bitbucket, all those things. And another differentiator is that they are one of our security engineers 4 times a year, if they're paying annually, they can request from the dashboard saying that, hey, I've run an automated scan, please vet this. So our security engineers would check the results and ensure that if there's any false positives, it would be cleared there and then, and the final result would have no false positive. And this in turn helped us, because we know that, okay, this was a false positive in this custom built application by a customer. So our rule engine becomes better every time we do that exercise. So it's a win-win for us as well as customers. Now, talking about the Pentest plan, that's where we've tried to, I would say it's a little big thing where we are trying to put a dollar value to a Pentest, because Pentest costs usually can be
a lot,
$10,000, right? And we are trying to put a cost to it. So and this ideally we are trying to do for one host, essentially, is how usually we work the pricing for. So in Pentest plan, yes, definitely we do a complete Pentest on the application of the organization. And of course, just to clarify, this is not like an entire networks Pentest or anything of that sort. It's definitely
in the application level.
In the application,
but it covers the business logic checks, permission escalations, and all these type of things.
Even the server level, but definitely not a complete if someone saying do a router thing and not that, like just an application and everything that where application is hosted to even application itself, business logic, everything. And how we are able to even put a price to it upfront is again one of the things that one of the learnings that we've had all over over the last few years that we've performed hundreds of pen tests. I mean, the dashboard that you see, we had a very, very bad version of this dashboard a couple of years ago, which we are not proud of. But still, I mean, who was
normal?
giving?
Yeah.
But still, I mean, who was giving dashboards for pen test even 2 years back, right? So we made it. So this one's a very amazing version of it. So that's and what we've actually realized is that we've tried to focus a lot on saving time of our security engineers when it comes to pen test. That's how we are able to price it. We listed down all the things. I've personally performed pen test on like businesses who are now, let's say, unicorn startups, right? So I understood what a security engineer likes, what they do not like, where they waste maximum of their time, which doing uncool stuff. We've over the years talked to our security team, understood how they like, what are the things they enjoy and which is the uncool stuff. And within our back of the system, we realized that one of the things that security teams do not really enjoy, but it is important, is reporting aspect of it. When they're hacking, they're in their zone. Like they've got their headphones on and they're like,
you're in the flow,
like, they're in the flow, and they've like they'll be like, oh, I'm in it. There's a very crazy vulnerability. They get excited. I mean, when we were working from home since last couple of years, but when we were at our office, we used to see security like engineers sitting on the couch and just going like this in the middle of the office. They do not care. They're like, okay. So that's and it's good to see them doing that. And when they're doing reports, especially if they're crazy bad PDF reports that we usually see, security engineers are, man, like why, like I didn't sign up for fixing the alignment of this Word document, right? So
I'm not a content writer.
I'm not a content writer, exactly. So we've even on the reporting aspect of it, I can proudly say that, like, you know, we've drastically, I would say, upwards of 60 to 70% time that usually is required for usual reports is something that we've cut down. We've massively used templates of various vulnerabilities within that we've created all over the years. We give an option to security researchers to create POCs with a click of a button. I mean, while they are verifying the vulnerability, they just have to click a button within their browser and the POC is recorded, and they just copy and paste a link there and they've got a POC within the dashboard. I mean, so
I have seen some tickets like that. That was like the thing that I really liked. It's not like that usually you see in these PDFs, like, you know, the item one, it was like more contextual, and it was like listening a pentester actually just next to you and saying that, you know, to do this, first click that. That's how I experienced it.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you found that. When we've actually, even in some cases where we realized that the exploitation is a little difficult or not, we've seen that even developers do not understand request response, or we saying that, hey, here's a, let's say, Burp. Burp is a tool that we really respect, and it's an industry standard tool, right? So if a security engineer has used a Burp interceptor, so he would write that in the report, but a developer reading the report, he like, where do I download Burp?
Where's the picture? Where's
the picture? So what we've actually done is that very easily our security team can simply, I mean, record the video and it's done. I mean, they have to write less and the other person gets better view. So it's a win-win for everyone. So these are a few things, and even there's a small resolution center within our Pentest suite where our customer can simply click a button and say that I need help and tell what help they need. Collaboration, I mean, it's just like Instagram or Facebook's comment section where you can reply to a comment, add code, whatever. The entire collaboration is very contextual. Earlier, this used to be, I mean, what we are like, how it's crazily better than what is happening in the industry, I believe, is that earlier there usually is a 200 email long thread where security team is saying that, hey, I'm referring to this thing which is on page 520 of the report, and developers are saying that, hey, okay, this thing. and the entire fixing collaboration is a mess. So we've
And the
tried to
versions
fix
are maybe changed, so he's referring some old version. It's like a total dance between development and security that we all know.
Exactly. Sometimes versions change, and sometimes they say that, hey, this is a staging environment. We're done. I mean, with that, they say that this is a staging environment, and in production, this does not exist. So all that collaborate, and then there's no record of it. I mean, tomorrow, if some incident happens, right? Everyone wants to say that, hey, I pointed this out, and developer says that, hey, we fixed this. But at the same time, there's no timeline of events that, if like for a SSL or that everything is recorded at one place with context of which vulnerability was being talked right here, so that it's very easy to go back and see. So that really is something that helps in collaboration. So these are a few, I would say, mini innovations that we did with the Pentest product that helped us put a upfront price to Pentest. And thankfully, all the customers that have been using it are a lot of product companies, SaaS businesses, and they absolutely love it. And they say that, hey, I mean, this is really making our lives easier and making security genuinely continuous for our business. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. But I also have a question about like the bug bounty part of it. Like you mentioned that you are coming from the, the bug bounty background, and I can see clearly that in the product as well. So for example, there is an item I have seen that's saying that the budget lost, or how you're phrasing it, potential loss. Like how do you, like, is it something that a company policy defining a bounty price, and then when some issue found, how does it calculate it? How does it work?
Sure. I'm glad that you got a chance to see it. So it comes again from a very real problem of talking to customers, right? You've been in the industry. One of the biggest thing, especially earlier, it has become a little less of a challenge now. Used to be that customers say that, hey, this is security. It's great. It's making my application secure. What's the dollar value to it?
Well, like, I'm getting out of it. What's the ROI? Yeah.
What's the ROI? I mean, if a CXO in a board meeting would ask, what's an ROI, right? So we figured out there are two ways when it comes to ROIs in Pentest and a product. First is when sales team or sales head says that, hey, our SOC compliance depends on this, or our XYZ compliance depends on this. And due to that, we are not getting contracts worth X thousand or X $100,000. So we need it. That's a very obvious ROI. Second ROI, potential, right? And second ROI, but we realized was that we need to show that, hey, if this vulnerability is not fixed, what could be the potential loss that could happen to the business? And how do we calculate that? What's the data point? We say that, okay, I mean, nothing intelligent. Let's see what similar companies paid as a bug bounty for a similar vulnerability and show that. Fair enough. I mean, if let's say if you've got an application which has, let's say, the most quoted vulnerability XSS in it, right? And there's a company that paid $200, $400 for an XSS. That particular widget in our dashboard says that, hey, potential loss is $200. And why we are saying this is because HubSpot or some other company paid $200 as a bug bounty to someone for reporting this vulnerability. And if you're not fixing it, this could be the potential loss. Because and thanks to amazing companies like HackerOne, Bugcrowd, all these businesses who, and of course, a lot of security researchers who've agreed to make certain reports public and even bounty data public, because that we are able to see that.
We have an idea, like how much it's gonna cost for XSS issue.
Exactly. So we literally, if you click on that button, we literally show, we tell them that, hey, here's the HackerOne public link. You can see the interaction with the hacker where company has agreed to pay them that much. So you could be in that position. And companies like that. I mean, they are able to prioritize how they want to fix vulnerabilities according to this.
And I mean, in security, we are working with the unknown. So if you don't hear much about the stuff from the security, it's actually the good thing because things get like, handled already, but you may lose, especially if you have no idea about the tech part of the site, to what's the value, like how we paying this hundreds of thousands of euros and, what's this guy's doing? Kind of, it gives like a quite concrete answer for just for the tool justification for like we're paying this much, and if we were just doing a bounty program, that will be costing us that. Okay, that's really smart. I haven't seen anywhere else that kind of an approach, and I'm sure like the people are using it, especially when they are asking for budget.
Absolutely. I mean, we really talk a lot with CTOs and CISOs, of course, and they love it. They say that, hey, thanks a lot. And even we kind of we kind of show sum total of that value also, like individual vulnerability level, what's the cost, and even for the complete vulnerability scan or pen test results, what's the total. So they're able to justify the cost fairly easily. So yeah, they love it.
Yeah, I bet so. How the pricing works? Like, I seen that like you encourage, like system encourages many people to be using it. So are you charging by like how many times you scan or how many user uses it? How does it work?
Sure. So we currently, I mean, on a pricing page soon, we would be adding a asset edition button where they would be able to. So currently, how we actually allow businesses to scan a target is essentially a host which they can add, which they want to scan, as well as they can also add additional hosts which are dependent on the main host. So example, I mean, a lot of businesses that we work with are SaaS businesses. They have a cloud infrastructure, and let's say they've got an application at app.abc.com. But usually how scanners work is they say that we are going to strictly scan app.abc.com. But that usually leaves a situation where all the dependencies of that app
microservices, like APIs.
Exactly. So we tell them that, hey, if you've got like 5 dependencies, which is an api.abc.com or api2.abc.com, add those also during the starting of the scan. And we'll ensure that any dependency on the main application also is covered within the same pricing. Now, you want us to dedicatedly like you have a different product or a different asset, let's say app2.abc.com, that would require a different pricing. Different, I mean, it's a different host altogether for us.
So you call it like host, like a app wise, like the application. So it's not like FQDN, fully qualified domain name, but it's more about the project itself as a whole. So you have main host and you have microservices related to that and so on.
Yes, that's correct. Because in the end, we want to feel honest about the fact that when we say that we've scanned your complete application, we mean it. So that this allows us to be, and in terms of, like you mentioned, the users, we are very liberal about the number of users that application can add. Like, I think in one of the plans, we do not allow users, or there are only 1 or 2 users. But in other one, we realize that there are businesses who usually they add their developers, or if they've got security teams. I would not like to not like just for one developer who've added one who's supposed to work on 3 vulnerabilities out of 50 reported, you're paying some dollars extra. So we kind of give that leeway. And to like, honestly, this kind of feature gating is also something which is very recently we started doing. Otherwise, plans on the outside said X users, 10 users, 50 users, but inside it was not really gated. So that's how it is. And it's just the features that we usually like, the host as well as the features. If you want a vetted scan, integrations, then we kind of segregate various plans. And of course, Pentest itself is a huge thing.
Yeah, how is the service part? The manual intrusion part like getting, do you have some SLAs or you agreed on some numbers of the involvement and so on?
So in terms of what we usually do is that we say that in the pen test plan, what we would be giving you is one complete pen test of the application, and that plan only bills annually. So it's one pen test, as well as even I think we do one or two rescans to ensure that the vulnerabilities are fixed. Apart from that, they get unlimited access to their to the automated vulnerability scanner. They can integrate with their CI/CD pipeline if they like, run it every time they are going into production. And that plan also includes 4 vetted results reports that I mentioned. At any time of the year, they can
so ask for the clearing the false positive and checking the result of how accurate is it. So
that's correct. And even we give a publicly verifiable certificate which they can use after the pen test, saying that, hey, this company has performed a pen test, and we feel very confident on giving that because we know that, okay, a regular vulnerability scan is happening on this organization. So it's just one URL which they can share with their customers, partners, and it verifies the
certificate that we are secure. We are spending time for securing the app.
Yes, that's correct.
It's great. So, as a last question, I always ask, where's the roadmap is going? Where this product or services will grow or improve it? Where do you spend your energy these days to improve?
Absolutely. We're really building new features. We are almost every week we put out a release, and every month there is some of the other major feature that goes out. And a few next set of features that we'll be working on would include giving organizations ability to, which is a great feature which comes with a lot of other, a couple of other, especially the on-premise scanners or app-based scanners, where we'll be giving them an opportunity to themselves run that one particular test to verify fixes themselves. So that's one thing that we would like to do on the cloud. And apart from that, the big vision is we want to ensure that anything and everything which is application layer of an organization, basically even beyond application layer, let's say cloud infrastructure of an organization, we want to build a security scan and pen test engine for that. So one of the key problems with organizations we've seen, and you might have experienced also in your career, is that security solutions of one category do not work that well with each other, and this becomes problems for CISOs and organizations to work with the results of each of them. Now, I mean, organizations would have different types of firewalls for different layers, but for same layer, they would not have 2 firewalls because it is a little difficult to manage with the result. So we want to own the application security scanning space. So we are building this huge, like a complete platform, which helps organizations do API scanning, web app scanning, even going forward, mobile app scanning at one place, and the results from each of them for all of their assets, their cloud assets, help them correlate and work with the results way better than currently it's happening across various tools. So yes, really big goal is to.
So you're moving you're moving on the cloud security, or let's say hosting environment security as well. And when you look at it as some item, so this is the application, so it will cover everything from the application level to container security, maybe composition analysis, so it's like the
correct. That's the big plan, and we would like to start with application layer. Focus more on application side of things, application layer side of things, because we know it that whenever a big breach or a hack happens, it's usually application layer at the culprit or some silly mistake. So we want to cover that and then move up from there. So yeah.
I see. Sounds great. It was nice talking to you. And after this video, I will add a link people to just go and register an account in Astra Security so they can test the platform, they can have experience with it, and they can share with us to improve the product even further.
Absolutely, that would be great, and that's so nice of you. Thanks a lot, Sophie. And I must say, you've been such a great and a patient host who just lets their guests speak freely. So thanks a lot.
My pleasure.